The reality of the situation was beginning to set in. I was all but naked, surrounded by all of my peers and betters. The bishop, who had been standing off to the side with the superior, was covering his eyes in shame. I was soaked, my breath was short, my feet were sore, I was covered in ash, and worst of all, I felt an overwhelming sense of guilt. Horrible as it is to admit, there had been a small part of me that had hoped an act of God had removed Eustace as an obstacle. But there she was, looking as stoic as ever. I was having a very bad day. Yeah, why don't we let Hedwig collect herself a little bit, and we'll just deal with this lot for a little while.
They only had cans. Hope that's alright.
Huh? Oh, yeah, sure.
I felt kind of strange all of a sudden. I remember blinking and flipping the pages of the book. Right, yeah, I was holding the book. I wasn't able to read much, though. The jet lag or something. Words stuck out to me as I skimmed, but none of them made sense. Nosy! You could borrow it if you like. Don't know if you have a telly in the room you're staying in. Not sure. I don't think so. There you are, then. Branch out a bit. Try a genre you're not familiar with.
I thought you needed this for work.
It is work, but I'm in no rush. I'm here to get a little more hands-on with a different project anyway.
I considered for a second, looking back down at the page I had opened to. None of the words made sense. They felt like they were shifting in front of me. It gave me a headache. I really was jet-lagged, and I wasn't interested in the premise anyway. Nah. I slid the book back across the table. She smirked as she put it back in her bag. I didn't want to play games. I changed the subject. You mentioned scouting on the plane. You making a movie out of this or something? She smiled and raised a finger to her lips. That's cool.
I can write this off as a business meal.
Do you ever stop working? She unfastened her handbag and retrieved her shiny pack of cigarettes, lighting one as she spoke.
You into compensation theory?
God, it's nice to hear someone say that instead of work-life balance.
I'm sure it is. You might not like my answer, though. I love working. My work is fun. I mean, I think structural functionalism is a fascinating field. And I suppose it's true if you want to give factory workers enough holidays that they don't strangle their wife and kids. But me, I was one to be working.
Ever strangled anyone?
Work's too fulfilling to even fantasize about it.
I wish I could find a job like that.
Where do you work?
Nowhere right now.
Explains the uniform.
She wagged her cigarette at my baggy clothes. Jesus.
Aw, too far?
Do you like me or not?
If I didn't like you, I wouldn't tease you. Sorry, I thought we were developing a good rapport. Sort of a buddy cop thing. Oh, I don't know, something you wouldn't protest. Buddy.
Co-op grocery cashiers? Her above-it-all shtick was really starting to piss me off, but what really annoyed me was that she was funny. I was used to being the mean one in conversations. All I could do was scoff. Is all this off the dome, or is this your open mic material?
Like I said, love, I'm always working. So, American, unemployed, perhaps unemployable, left-wing in the sense that you really want people to know you're left-wing. Punk aesthetics, but academic vocabulary when push comes to shove. I'm going to guess your parents are wealthy?
But not in academia. If that was the case, you'd probably read less, you'd never be able to keep up arguing with them, and you like feeling smarter.
So let's say... liberal. Do they work in entertainment? Your natural distaste for me might stem from that. I remind you of them.
I don't have a distaste for you. But you're kind of weird and kind of mean, and I don't even know your name.
I buy you drinks, though. We do have a rapport.
Yeah, thanks.
My name is Tatiana.
Really?
Really.
I mean, the title said so. That's more Russian than I was expecting.
Now who's being mean? Maybe I'm a spy for the Reds? You'd like that, I imagine.
Whatever. Anyway, you're wrong. And neither of my folks are in entertainment.
I'm very close, though, aren't I? Politics?
God damn it. Yeah. Can I have a cig?
Course.
Thanks. Yeah, my dad's a mayor. She laughed really hard at that one. The mayor's punk daughter. That's almost too good. I bet you're popular with the papers. God. Does he ever ask you to dress normal for reporters? Do you argue about Afghanistan and nuclear power over dinner? He's the mayor. He has no say in any of that shit. Answer the question. Well, yeah, all the time. Like, he's the mayor now, but what if he becomes a senator or the president? I'm always right. What's his #1 policy? Huh? What did he run on? What won his campaign? That prison shit. Carceral state fear-mongering bull. So I was right. Liberal. Sure, yeah. Well, that paints an absolutely fascinating picture of you. But why are you here? Why Lynborough? I was getting tired of the interrogation, but looking around the pub, I realized my options for conversation elsewhere on this trip were slim. You're the location scout. You know about the weird shit that went down here? She blew a large cloud of smoke out of her nostrils. Pretend I don't. Okay. Sure. There's this abbey at the top of the hill here. You know, for medieval nuns. It burned down a long time ago. Nobody thought it was very important, you know, like it was sad, but it's not like the Tower of London or whatever. It was just another abbey. There's weird shit about it. Lots of conspiracies and stuff. Ghost stories? I'm familiar. Do go on. There's a whole bunch, I don't know. Some of it is silly. I'm not like much of a kooky theory type, you know? I just thought it was interesting, and I wanted to get away from home for a while. Tell me the theories. Some people think there was a coup or something being planned there. Or that there was like a medieval terror cell there. Like they were going to do something about the War of the Roses. I don't know, it sounds pretty stupid when I say it out loud. I never felt less confident in myself than I did explaining myself to this rich lady. I don't know, it had made sense to me up until now. Look, I had a big argument with my parents about my future, you know how it goes. I'm not into occult or supernatural shit, really, but a TA in my English lit class put me onto this cool story about this weird abbey in England. A lot of weird stuff happened there, murder, suspicious fires, etc., etc. He's been trying to write a paper or something about it and was going to come do research. I needed a place to go to clear my head and get away from my family for a while, and I thought, hey, good excuse to get out of the country. I'll go check out this weird old haunted building with a friend of mine. God, what was I doing? You and a friend are taking a gap year together. I get it, fairly normal for rich girls. I'm not taking a gap year, and I'm not a rich girl. Who bought your plane ticket? Your parents. Nice of them to pay for your getaway. Why'd you come alone? Couldn't get on the same flight as this friend of yours? Look, it's supposed to be a surprise. She threw her head back and started cackling. Please God, I thought, get me out of this fucking pub. Oh, this is good. This is really, really special. This friend isn't a friend, is that right? You're in love with him, aren't you? You don't care about this abbey at all. You're trying to impress him. I downed the rest of my can of cider. I don't want to talk about this. But it's so cute. What's he like? Aloof and cool, I'm guessing. But deep down you know he really cares. Does he know you're into him? I wasn't gonna play along anymore. I started to scowl and focused on my cig. Aw, you're upset. That's okay. You're still cranky from your flight. Time zones are a bitch, aren't they? Someone else was being a bitch too, but I didn't want to start a fight. I made a show of glancing at the clock and stood up. Thanks for the cider. And the cig. Sit back down for a moment. You'll want to hear this. I doubt it. As it happens, I've also been working on a book about the goings-on up at Lynborough. She was right, unfortunately. I did want to hear that. I sighed and sat back down. So what's it about? The killings, of course.
The mystery of it all. Well, yeah. But what's the angle? It'd be a bit difficult to explain all in one go. Would you like to borrow it? Huh? I have a copy in my bag. If you'd like to do a little light reading tonight. She produced a rather thick paperback from her handbag. None Left Alive. Oh my fucking god, I love that title. Oh, that feels like something I would have come up with. That's the best. Chronicles of a Killer Sister. There was a photo, or maybe just an illustration of a rich-looking woman on the cover. None Left Alive, Chronicles of a Killer Sister was embossed in big gold text above her smiling face. Oh, it's a novel? I was expecting a textbook. Historical fiction is all the rage. Based on a true story, you know. Sure enough, that was emblazoned on the cover where I would have expected the author's name to be. Well, how accurate is it? It looks kind of over the top. Dunno. I haven't finished it yet. But it incorporates some interesting new evidence. Whoa. Okay then. What kind of evidence? You could read it and find out. Or I could show you tomorrow. Huh? You're going up to the Abbey, I presume. I'll meet you there. Even better than a book, I'd wager. It was hard to argue, as weird as she was. Okay. I pushed the novel back across the table. I want to see the real thing. She slid the novel back towards me. Keep it. I doubt you'll spoil it for yourself all in one night. It's rather long. I could skip to the end. I suppose you could. Will you? Dunno. She smiled. My guess is a no. I'll pick you up bright and early tomorrow, yeah? What? To see the Abbey. I already have plans. No, you don't. She said this with a wide smile. And as luck would have it, my work is taking me there too. That guy Jim is gonna drive me up, I think. Of course he is. Well, in that case, I'll meet you up there. Whatever. She let go of my wrist, and I left the pub to head back to Jim and Mary's. I don't exactly remember the accents I gave everybody in Alex's last chapter. I'm just kind of going with the vibe at this point. The door was unlocked when I got back, but all the lights were off. They must have been asleep already. Made sense, they were old. I kicked off my shoes and felt my way to the stairs in the dark. I swung my leg onto the bed and flopped into it. The mattress was squeaky as shit, and I felt bad. I didn't want to wake Jim and his wife up. I stared at the ceiling for a few minutes. I was tired, for sure, but I couldn't sleep just yet. I turned the bedside lamp on to check out the book that lady had insisted I borrow. I opened the book to the first page. No publishing info or anything like that. No, that made sense, I guess. It was an advanced copy. There was something there, though. Don't! Guys, just don't! Whatever you're thinking of right now, just don't! I don't know how else to explain this to you. Don't. Bit creepy. I shook it off, though. I figured it was just a fragment of a note she had typed for herself. Don't forget to do something editory, you know, some shit like that. I was just on edge. Then I turned to the table of contents. Don't. Every chapter was titled Don't. This was pretty weird. And she said this was based on the true story? I was freaked the fuck out, but I couldn't resist turning the page again. Empty. I skimmed through the whole thing. There wasn't a single word printed in the whole book other than don't. It was so weird that I couldn't get all the way through it. I snapped the book shut and set it on the bedside table. I was too tired for this shit. I closed my eyes and zonked out. When I woke up, the first thing I did was check that novel again. Still blank. Fucking weird. Had I imagined all that dote stuff? I rolled out of bed and put my clothes from the previous night back on. I'd only worn them for a few hours. Plus, looking at my suitcase made me realize that I had probably packed a little light. I could hear voices downstairs.
After glancing at the empty book one last time, I walked down into the kitchen. Jim and Mary were seated for breakfast, chatting pleasantly. There she is. Toast? Yeah, actually. Thanks. He smiled and picked a piece of crispy white bread off of a large pile on the kitchen table. Butter? Absolutely. Marmalade? You know what? Sure. I ain't ever had marmalade before. No marmalade? Yeah. Not really a thing stateside. Hear that, Mary? Cancel our holiday. Mary chuckled as she scraped a generous helping of orange goop onto my toast. As if we'll ever have an overseas holiday. She handed me the plate and I bit into the toast hungrily. Wow, that is good. No marmalade, might as well not have a country. Oh, that definitely agree. What's that? I swallowed my food. On that, we can definitely agree. Oh, you don't like America? Of course she doesn't, Mary. She's a punk, isn't that right? Yeah. Probably doesn't like the Queen, neither. Talked about that in the car, funnily enough. Mary looked upset. Oh, James, you said she wasn't one of your little schemers. I don't know what you're talking about, love. She's just a traveler who happens to have a loud taste in music and politics, isn't that right? I never met this guy before, I promise. Oh, me. Only you can make me want to believe that you just happen to pick up a teenager in your car. Don't make me sound like some sort of prevert. Not above woman. I'm only saying, you probably looked quite strange inviting her into your car. It was a friend that suggested it. I have an airtight character witness. Besides, I have another alibi. Oh? Short hair does nothing for me. Mary slapped her husband on the shoulder playfully, and he laughed dryly. Watch it. So then, Alex, you want to lift up to the Abbey, yeah? Now, if you wouldn't mind, yeah. Mary gave me an oddly serious look. I'm here to explore the ruins. A fascinating bit of history, that Abbey. A macabre, more like. Now, you should really be careful up there. Lots of shady types go at night and get up to no good. Just kids, Mary. It's just a good spot to have a bit of fun away from prying eyes. You were young once, odd as it is to believe. Another playful slap on the shoulder. How long are you planning to stay up there? Not sure. A while, probably. I want to take some pictures. Alright then. How about I drop you up there after breakfast and then come collect you around tea time? I've got to run some errands today and I'd rather like to do some gardening, so I can't stay with you. That works for me. I finished my toast, then ran back upstairs to grab my jacket and my camera. When I headed back downstairs, Jim was already waiting by the door. Ready? Yep. Bye, Mary. Bye-bye. It was so beautiful outside that I had to stop for a second to admire the view and take in the crisp morning air. Doesn't get much better than that, does it? I can't believe people live here. Feels like something out of a kid's book. Heh, you get used to it, but not that used to it. Still blows me away sometimes, too. Go on, get in. Top of the mountain will be even more impressive. I hopped into the front seat of Jim's car once again. Right then, off we go. Driving through the narrow streets of the village was kind of scary. City driving was bad enough in the States, but none of the roads here were straight, and all of them were crazy fucking narrow. Eventually, we made it out of the town. We drove past a large farm at the base of the hill, and then the road began to get steeper. The hill was like a big wall of green. It was breathtaking, but the drive didn't get any more relaxing. The road was only wide enough for one car, which led to several sudden swerves to allow other drivers to buzz past us. Jesus! How the hell do you decide whether you get out of the way or keep going? I dunno. Instinct mostly. You want me to slow down? Nah, I guess you got it under control. Just takes some getting used to. That doesn't faze me at all. I'll barely notice. Driving jeeps was a lot more dangerous, I can tell you that. I imagined throwing a grenade into one of the passing cars. After 20, maybe 30 minutes, the road turned into gravel. Things got really bumpy for a little while. Then, finally, I saw stone ruins up ahead. There we are. Lynnborough Abbey, or what's left of it. There were a few cars parked in the gravel lot. I could see a really weathered plaque near the ruins, too. Jim stopped the car and drummed on the steering wheel. Right then. I'll pip you up back here a little after dark, eh? Sounds perfect. Thanks a lot, man. Not at all, not at all. Oh, look, your friend's here. God fucking damn it. I'd been kind of hoping she wouldn't show up. She was walking straight toward us with a huge grin on her face. A black turtleneck and khaki riding pants made her look kind of like a stormtrooper. I wondered if Jim would say anything, but he was perfectly polite. I stepped out of the car, unable to escape. Hello! Hi. Fancy meeting you here. What are the odds? Oh, quite good this time. We chatted about meeting up here in the pub last night. Well, you two have a nice day then, eh? I've got to run. Things to do. Of course, don't let us keep you. Yeah, thanks again. Jim gave a salute as I closed the car door, and the car rumbled away over the gravel. Brought a camera, did you? That's fantastic. I could do with some new shots. I need an author photo. You're an author now? Sometimes. For real, or is this like a ghostwriter thing? I do have several collaborators. Do you know anything about 15th century metallurgy? No. Why would I? I don't know. People take all sorts of useless classes at university. Never mind. Shall I give you the grand tour? I couldn't believe I was stuck with her. I'd flown so far to see this. She was oblivious to how annoyed I was, though. She swung around on her heel and marched right toward the plaque in front of what looked like a ruined archway. Welcome to Lynnborough Abbey. I'm something of an expert, if you can believe it. You already know about what the plaques say, I'm sure. Built in the 1300s, served the community until it tragically burned down in 1484. Some say it's haunted. They still age award-winning wine here, graciously open to the public. Blah, blah, blah. Bit of a silly thing to put on a plaque like this, but I suppose that's tourism for you. Well, yeah. I know all of that, obviously. The blah, blah, blah is why I'm here, though. She kissed her teeth. You're interested in the haunting bit, too, though. Duh. That's not all, though. I mean, I am interested in the ghost for real reasons, not just, like, because I think ghosts are cool. I don't think that, really. So it's a special ghost, and you're definitely interested in it for reasons beyond trying to impress a boy. Oh my god, you're not gonna let that go. It's important. I just need to be sure. Sure about what? That I can trust you with something interesting. Okay. Fuck it, sure. I'm related to one of the sisters. It was built in the 1300s. Narrow it down for me. This would be going way back, obviously, but this teacher's aide I'm meeting here who got me interested in this stuff, he helped me dig through my family tree. And it turns out I'm a way distant relative of one of the later period nuns. I'm on the edge of my seat! Do you know anything about a Sister Catherine? The corners of her mouth twitched and stretched into a creepy smile. Of course. But Lynnborough Scholar doesn't. She was quite a character. You think you're related to her? I don't know. Maybe. My friend's piecing together some family tree stuff about some of the nuns here. She died, though, quite tragically, if the stories are to be believed. Maybe she didn't. That's the theory my friend's been working on, anyway. So you reckon your Sister Catherine's great... Oh, I can never work generations out in my head. Come with me. She passed under the ruins of the archway, beckoning me to follow. There wasn't much left of the place. The gravel path took us past square plots of stone. I assumed these were whatever was left of the building's foundation. A few chunks of wall covered in moss were still standing. Some pillars still stood, and most impressively, a few intact building facades. A couple of tourists stood on the cloister lawn, snapping photos. Beautiful, isn't it? Yeah, not much left though. 500 years is a very long time, even for buildings that didn't catch fire. Oh yeah, I've been meaning to ask about that. Wasn't it made of stone? How did it burn down? She let out a condescending laugh. Stone buildings can still burn down, love. But there was plenty of wooden framing, and mortar can catch fire. At that point, being made of stone is a bit of a liability. If there's nothing holding it together... Squish. Yeesh. I took a few photos of the ruins. Looking for anything in particular while you're here? Well, yeah. That friend. Friend. Right you are. She winked. What's he like? Serious, moody. Deep down, you know he cares. Knock it off. Have it your way. But let's pretend he got waylaid. What did you come here to see besides him? Well, You said you could show me something crazy at the pub.
What's your friend's theory? How invested is he in all this? Did you come here just so you could hear all about it? Knock it off. Maybe he wanted to show you the same thing I'm going to. Are you afraid I'm going to spoil things? I love spoiling endings.
Did you know they build another big space ball in the next Star Wars?
Have you ever seen The Passion?
I'll tell you what happens. Jesus dies. Do I look like a nerd to you?
Anyway, that came out months ago. What is your favorite movie of the year so far?
I don't know. I like Streamers. Saw that a couple weeks ago. Jesus, Streamers? That's obscure even by my standards.
Of course you like Streamers. You are a nerd, just not the sci-fi kind.
Hey, would you do me a favor and fuck off if you're gonna be an asshole? Her smile never ever wavered.
Aw, but if I did that, I couldn't show you my super secret special evidence.
I rolled my eyes. Fine, show me what you want to show me. She grinned and began walking again. I followed her, determined to get a whole story out of her.
You're into politics. How much do you think that played into what happened here?
Well, it burned down at the end of the War of the Roses, so...
Aha. So you didn't skip ahead in that book. I was right.
So it wasn't political.
I didn't say that.
That book was empty, by the way. You gave me a blank on accident.
Really?
Well, that shouldn't be the case.
Are you quite sure?
Positive.
Did it say anything at all?
I couldn't trust her.
Nope. Just blank. Well, misprints aren't unheard of. Anyway, the war was absolutely one factor. Are you familiar with Richard III?
Kinda.
Well, that's a huge spoiler for you. He stayed here. In fact, he was staying here when it all came crashing down.
So what? I mean, I read that theory once, I think. It's out there, I'm pretty sure. I thought you said you knew some really mind-blowing new stuff. We had come to stop at a staircase. She kept checking her watch.
Be a dear and make sure nobody sees us slip down here, yeah?
Wait, hold on. But she was already halfway down the stairs.
God fucking damn it.
She was taking us into some kind of wine cellar. I could hear her calling to me from up ahead.
Do you want your mind blown?
I want you to put up or shut up.
Open this.
Open what? She jerked her head toward one of the wine barrels. Do you think I'm fucking stupid? I don't want to get covered in wine.
Suit yourself.
She fumbled with the front of the barrel for a moment. I braced myself. I know this sounds insane, but it wasn't a prank. The lid opened like a door. Inside was something that looked like a rolled-up piece of paper.
Whoa. Put that back! Are you crazy? Thought you were a punk.
She unrolled the paper and grinned. I looked over my shoulder just in case a security guard was coming around the corner. When you said new evidence, I didn't realize you meant you were stealing shit!
Stealing? I'm not stealing. Nobody knew it was here. I'm finding.
Whatever!
Would you like to see it?
She turned the thing around before I finished answering.
Now isn't this interesting?
Whoa. It was the painting from the cover of None Left Alive.
Well, indeed.
She kept holding it out to me. She looked expectant, but I wasn't really sure what else I could say other than whoa or cool.
Well,
I mean, yeah, it's cool, but it's a ruined painting someone lost, I guess.
All right.
Christ, if I knew it'd be this hard to impress, I might not have brought you.
Well, sorry.
Art history isn't my thing.
Good thing there's plenty more then. Follow me.
She stuck her head back in the barrel and started crawling into it.
Come on then.
No way! You are crazy!
Am I?
Her voice had suddenly gotten all echoey. Confused, I stuck my head into the barrel and saw her smiling at the end of a small tunnel.
Interesting thing number 2. There's more in here. Get a move on!
Hell no.
Do you think heritage site security guards work for MI6 or something? We're doing a little exploration, that's all. If we get caught, we can just say sorry.
I sighed and took my leg off before squeezing into the little tunnel, closing the door behind me just in case. I crawled through into the little room Tatiana was now pacing around the edges of, looking for something. I sat on the lip of the tunnel and put my leg back on while she yapped. Should be around here somewhere. I stood up and took it all in. We were in some kind of underground chamber. It was dirty and dusty, but surprisingly dry. It's an old pantry. It's held up quite well, considering. And nobody's found it up until now? They've just never opened that particular cask? Those are all decorative, part of the exhibit. I'm sure people have found it, they just didn't have a use for it. So why are we here? Because of... Can't find what you're looking for? Give it a minute. I started pacing around. And maybe I could find the cool thing before she did, get one over on her. It became obvious that people had indeed found this room before. There were broken beer bottles, condom wrappers, and old fast food containers all over the floor. Not the most romantic hookup spot, is it? Aha! She had climbed up one of the rotting wooden shelves. Careful! The wood under her boot gave way, but she managed to land on her feet. She was clutching a long bundle of rags to her chest. Waving me over, she held it out to me. Open it! Ugh, no thanks. How long has that been there? Oh, about 500 years. She smirked. Why are you showing me all this stuff? You want to impress your friend? How chuffed will he be when he shows up and you have incredible new evidence for his research? He might propose on the spot. You. Oh, stop being countercultural for 1 second and see what I've got. I rolled my eyes and reached for the crusty old fabric. Tatiana's permanent grin stretched even wider as I revealed what was wrapped up in the old cloth. A rusty sword. Whoa. Whoa is right. The sword that killed your sister Catherine, or so they say. As well as the Mother Superior, their infirmero, who knows who else. Wait, for real? Oops. Spoilers. Whatever. The sword was rusty as shit and it looked really brittle. Looking at it closely, though, I could see a faint engraving. Urim. Huh. Ooh, well done. Are you practicing? Nah. I don't go to temple anymore. Well, what's your best guess on the meaning? Well, I mean, it's Urim, so... Is there a Thummim as well? Goodness gracious. Give her one sword and she already wants another one. You asked? I'm teasing, love. You're spot on, I think. Urim and Thummim are a pair. Guilty and innocent, isn't it? Kinda. Sure. It was more complicated than that, but whatever. So... This is new? Like, nobody else researching Lynborough stuff knows about it? Jesus. What about that painting? Mysterious, isn't it? Who could it be? I'm gonna take a wild guess from your tone and say Catherine. You really didn't read much of that book I gave you, did you? It was blank, remember? Ah, right. Well, maybe it's her. Come on, though. You've got to admit I'm doing pretty good here. I remembered the cover of the pre-release book she had shown me. Wait. Isn't that on the cover of that novel? How come it's here? Right you are. Oh, how I loathe tyranny of continuity. Any suggestions for how it could have gotten here? None. Look, what's your game? It's Misericorde. Weren't you paying attention? Like, do you want something in return? Not in the slightest. You being here is enough for me. I just like showing off, and this is a great opportunity. Okay, weird. So, what's next? Next, we wait for your friend to show up, greedy guts. Then, you show him everything you found, he swoons, we share a nod from across the abbey. Fuck off. It'll be fun! Yep, well, I don't know how long he's gonna be. We might be waiting a while. Not to worry. I know a great way to pass the time. Yeah? She held her hand out and snapped her fingers.